watching, and my name is Hope. First of all, I wanted to make sure that you guys subscribe to my channel. Help me out. Hit like, subscribe, share the videos if you'd like. I know all you planner babes on Instagram that follow me. I would greatly appreciate if you would like it and maybe share it on your Instagram as well. I'm trying to grow the channel. But what I want to talk about real quick before we get into our recipe this week is some variations on the recipe that I made last week. The Manicotti quinoa pilaf I made. And at the end of the video, I had asked if you guys make it, what suggestions would you have to kind of change it up a little bit. And I got a total of 2 suggestions. One was my mother, and one was my sister. So at least I know my family's watching. But anyway, so my mom did say that she would put chicken in it, in the individual portions that I portioned it out. And I thought that was a great idea because they really like meat, and my mom and dad. And I thought maybe we could actually do rotisserie chicken because it's already cooked and made. You could just chop up a little bit of that, put it in your containers, and you're good to go. And then my sister actually said that when she makes it, which she's the one I got the recipe from, she puts Tabasco in it. I did not have any Tabasco, but I did try sriracha in it, and it was really, really good. If you do try to do that, if you do add the sriracha or the Tabasco, a little goes a long way. So just make sure, because during the week when I had it, my sinuses were very clear, I should say. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, make sure after you watch this video, you go back to the previous video and you'll kind of get an idea. That was a Manicotti quinoa pilaf that I made, and it was meal prepping for the week. That was a recipe that I had not tried before. But today's recipe is actually spinach and mushroom manicotti. I have it all laid out here in my Happy Planner recipe planner. I have made this for years, and probably about a month and a half ago, I posted a picture of the finished product on my Instagram, and I had asked you guys if you wanted to see a video about how to make it. And the response was very well. A lot of people wanted to see it, so that's what we're doing here today. So the first thing I wanted to tell you are the ingredients for sure. To start out, you need some olive oil. You're going to need 2 eggs, an 8-ounce box of manicotti. You need 6 ounces of mushrooms chopped, 6 ounces of fresh spinach chopped. You also need a 15-ounce container of ricotta. I always put, the recipe that I got does not call for mozzarella cheese for some reason, but any Italian dish that I have made, you want some mozzarella on top. So that's what I had added over the years. You need a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. I throw in some basil as well, freshly chopped basil. And then you need a 26-ounce container of spaghetti sauce. This is a homemade spaghetti sauce that I have made. I got this recipe, I can't remember the exact place that I got it at, but it was while we were doing keto, and it's fresh. It makes 2 jars of this, so I'm covered for like 2 meals for the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested in knowing the recipe for this, let me know, because think about it, it's so much cheaper to do it this way. This one is very easy, and it's fresh. There are no preservatives. You know, when you buy the stuff from the store, the preservatives are outrageous because they can sit on the, shelves for years. So the first thing that you're supposed to do is cook your manicotti. I have got my pot of boiling water going here, and I did salt it. It is very important to salt your pasta, but I'm going to add the manicotti here. It's supposed to cook it for about 7 minutes. Then you're going to drain it, and we're going to lay it on a cookie sheet and set that aside while we're waiting for the rest of the ingredients to come together. So these will not take very long because we started while it was boiling. And you could make this anyway. There is no meat in this, but you certainly could add maybe a pound of hamburger meat or a pound of Italian sausage to kind of give it that extra, protein that some people need and want. I'm assuming my mom might want to, because she loves to have chicken and protein in her food. So you're just gonna let that sit. I've turned the heat down a little bit. We'll let that do its thing. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna put some olive oil into a skillet. We're gonna add our chopped mushrooms. Now, I will tell you, this is just a container of mushrooms, like the 6 to 8 ounce container that you get at the grocery store that are already sliced. I go crazy and chop mine. As you can see, they're very fine. I use my Pampered Chef food chopper. I'll show you that in just a minute, but Andy's not a big vegetable guy. If you guys couldn't tell from the last video, he's not really into the vegetables. And this is a way that will get him to eat the vegetables. He doesn't even really realize that there are mushrooms in here. So you don't have to go to this extreme. But this is what I use. It's the Pampered Chef food chopper. There's plenty of them out there, but it chops them very finely. I actually do that with the spinach as well. This is actually a full bag of fresh baby spinach, but once you chop it up, it has like condensed to that much. So kind of shows you where we're at with that. It's and it's just fine. I mean, makes everybody happy. Everybody's getting something healthy. And then maybe it's kind of like a ground beef, because they say you can substitute mushrooms sometimes for meat, so having it this fine. But you just saute this for about 5 minutes. Then we're gonna add the spinach in, and we're gonna put that off to the side after we do that to kind of cool off. I'm going to then make a mixture of the ricotta. This is a good view. Shout out to Andy for being my videographer. He is so good at this. I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for him. But next we're gonna make our cheese mixture real quick. So, I bet I should read the directions, but you have to add the eggs in a bowl. You need 2 eggs. I thought maybe there was a shell in there, but no. It says you should beat the eggs in the bowl first. Stir in your ricotta. And you can use the lower fat ricotta if you want. I don't. When you're on keto, you use the full fat of everything, and I'm just in that habit of doing that, so that's what I've used, but you can certainly use either one. And then you need a 1/4 cup of the Parmesan cheese. I'm not going to use all of it because you want some for the topping as well. And you mix that in. Now the optional thing that you have that I've added over the years is some fresh basil. So I'm going to put some of that in there. And too bad there is not smell-o-vision, because that smells really good. So we've got our cheese mixture already ready to go. So I'm going to set that aside. And I can hear the mushrooms starting to cook, so I'm going to just keep stirring them around, making a little mess here and there. And you can tell they kind of start to change color as they get cooked. They look a little grayer, actually. So, and we also want to keep an eye on the noodles. Yeah, they still have a ways to go. I'll turn it up just a little bit more. I'm gonna try something new today. Normally when I fill my manicotti, I just get a spoon and I use my hands and fingers and I just kind of mix, shove it in there and put it in the casserole dish. I'm actually gonna try to put the mixture inside of a large Ziploc bag, cut the tip of it off and squeeze it out into it. So let's see if that works today. That'll be kind of neat to know if it's gonna work on live television. Now I'm gonna add the spinach. And with anything, you make it your own. There's not a lot of seasonings that this recipe calls for, so another thing that I've done over the years is add my own. I will add some salt and pepper, I'll add some garlic powder, onion powder, all of that kind of stuff. But once this is done cooking, we're going to set it out to the side to cool off so that we can mix it with our cheese mixture. Let me throw in some salt and pepper real quick. Really, everything is to taste, however much salt and pepper that you like. Always start less. Throw in some Italian seasoning. We have been making this, honestly, for years. I got this recipe somewhere back in Indiana, and we haven't lived in Indiana for 8 years, so I would safely say I've been making this for about 10 years now. And we would just do it whenever we felt like eating a little healthier. And right now we make it more because Jordan is a vegetarian, and I always like to cook on Sundays to feed everybody and make everyone happy. I can't always do that all the time, but at least on Sundays. Okay, so I think we're good here. We're gonna hold off now, wait for the pasta to cool. I'm gonna combine everything once this cools off. When I come back, you'll kind of see me assemble the manicotti and put it in the casserole dish before we stick it in the oven. So we'll see you back here shortly. All right, hey guys, we are back. And as you can see, I have got our manicotti filling ready to go. I have mixed the spinach and the mushroom with the cheese mixture, so it's ready to go. I've got the noodles sitting on a cookie sheet. You drain it, and then I just throw it on a cookie sheet with a little bit of olive oil so they don't stick together. But you have to be very gentle because, as you can see, a couple of them have ripped, and I've never had them not. So you just have to be very gentle when you are putting the filling in. But just something to keep in mind while you're cooking it. But the next thing that we're doing is I have put a gallon-size Ziploc bag into this cup, and I have put some of the filling in it. And like I said, I have never tried this before, but I've seen it done on many of the Food Network cooking shows. So we're gonna try to use this Ziploc bag, kind of a piping baking term, to fill the manicotti. It might be a little easier for me. First thing that you're gonna do to get the pan ready is you're gonna put a little bit of your marinara sauce or spaghetti sauce on the bottom. And then I just like to kind of make sure that it's coated at the bottom all over. Okay, and here's where it gets interesting. So this is the first time I have tried this. You're gonna wanna get all of the air out, I'm assuming. That's probably the best thing. Kind of have everything over to one side, the corner. And again, I have never tried this, so kind of excited actually. All right, so I'm gonna snip a little bit of the end off. I'm not gonna snip too much, see, because that's exactly what I was afraid to happen. So I'm gonna just start squeezing it into the manicotti. I don't know if you can see all of that, but I'm gonna work it from both ends because I think it'll be a little easier that way. Wow, that actually worked really well. I'm liking how that's turning out. So it's kind of nice to work it from both ends. So that's all you're gonna do. Obviously, if you don't wanna do it this way, you don't have to, but it is working a lot faster for me. Before, I was using, I was just using a spoon and squeezing it in there, you know, stuffing it in there. But this does seem to work very well. So you're gonna basically do that with all of your shells. I'm going for all the ones that are not broken first. A little easier to deal with. But yeah, oh wait, it worked. I think I'll definitely do this again. So yeah, this recipe, once I'm done here and we post it, I will be posting the recipe from my planner page for you to see on Instagram. So if you are interested in making it, at least get a few of the details, and then you can, that's a broken one, go from there and make it your own. Let me know if you make it. I would love to know. I really am enjoying doing these videos, and I'm having a hard time with this one. I think because I need more filling. Okay, so now you'll be able to kind of see how I did it the first time. So you want something kind of deep so you can, you know, fill the bowl in, and the bag has to fit around it, the lid of it. So I tried a bowl earlier and that was a little too wide for the Ziploc bag to fit around. So it seems like a deep cup is gonna work best if you're doing something like that. And it really, it's not the most pretty thing in the world. And then don't forget that you have the cut in the bottom of your bag. Oh, that was great. Okay, so some of these you just kind of gotta work with. When you have a spoon, I guess it's a little easier. So live TV. Well, I'm gonna try a different one, sorry. There we go. Put a little on that end. And honestly, I don't think I've ever used all of them in one shot. I think it's close, but I think I always have like one or two that are left over. And you just kind of fit them in, stuff them. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see if I can get at least one more going here. And you got to be careful, yeah, because that will rip it. And I will say another tip on this, using this helps not to rip as you're going either, because that's something else that I would do, is maybe rip them a little more during the filling process, but this definitely helps because you're touching it way less. So okay, so once you get all of those ready to go, I'm going to rinse my hands real quick. You're going to pour the rest of your sauce on top. Don't want to be a mess. But then you just pour however much or little that you want. I usually do all of it. It says a 26-ounce jar, and that's pretty much what this is. Just kind of spread it around, make sure it's over all of the nooks and crannies. And then it wants you to sprinkle the rest of your Parmesan on top. So the first step is, I have not said it yet, but you're going to bake it at 350. So preheat your oven to 350. I want you to cover it with foil. And it's going to cook for, I think it said 30 minutes in the oven. Then after the 30 minutes, we're going to take the foil off and we're gonna add, I'm gonna sprinkle the rest of the basil on it, and I'm gonna put the mozzarella on it, and then you're gonna cook it for another 5 to 10 minutes just until that mozzarella gets kind of bubbly and browned up a little bit. So that's where we're at right now. I will show you everything after it's done, okay? See you soon. Hey guys, we are back and I have a special guest. This is our daughter Jordan. She's our youngest. She's gonna do a taste test for us tonight just to let you know how amazing and wonderful this is, right?
Right.
I'm just kidding. So real quick, I wanted to remind you, once you cook it with foil for 30 minutes, then you're gonna take it out of the oven, take the foil off, and then you're gonna sprinkle your mozzarella cheese, if you want the mozzarella cheese. I ended up using that whole amount, which was about 2 cups of it. You don't have to use that much, but this is what it looks like with about 2 cups, which is pretty good. And then after that was done, I sprinkled a little bit more of that fresh basil that I chopped on it. So looks pretty good, I would say. We're also gonna serve, I went the easy route today and did a Caesar side salad kit, and then we're doing some cheesy garlic bread in the air fryer. So let me dish out one of these for Jordan to try real quick. Right quick. And Jordan's kind of like me, what you see is what you get. She'll tell me the truth if it's any good. But I'm sure it's going to be delicious. Okay. It is hot.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm gonna burn my mouth.
Just blow on it. It has been sitting for a few minutes, but yeah, just blow on it a little bit. No pressure.
It's hot.
But is it good?
It's good.
Yeah. Remember, No, she is our vegetarian, and that is why we are making it these days, but you can change it up and put your own spin on it. You can put some hamburger meat or Italian sausage, mix it in with the cheese mixture after it cools, and then kind of go from there and fill the manicotti. But that's it for today, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching our videos. We love making them for you, and we will be back next week. Jessica's coming next weekend, so we're going to make a special recipe next weekend, so stay tuned for that. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.